Remember, the key to success is working hard. For our country, we must have regard. Forget all your differences, let we start to build. And onward to progress we surely will. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation.
Yes, indeed, that is the main foundation. Let's work. Let's build Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. Of course, we have to be tolerant. Of course, we have to have a heightened level of understanding and reasoning. Because for tolerance to happen, you have to be able to reason. You have to be able to understand certain viewpoints. It may not be what you want. It may not, mesh in with what you agreed on or want to see, but tolerance is important. I want to welcome those on Facebook and YouTube. I want to encourage you to share the live. Sharing is caring. When you do, you give others the opportunity to view, to be a part of the conversation. I want to start off this morning by saying the NDC has held true to its foundational pillars. NDC during the campaign said to the Grenadian people, once elected, they will prioritize health care, they will prioritize education, they will prioritize agriculture, they will prioritize housing. You remember Project 500? So they made it very clear the areas they would focus on heavily. They also spoke of the creative industry, roping that in the whole developmental and transformational process. The whole human resource development, focusing on humans, focusing on our people, caring for our people. And they have not reneged on that. And this morning, I want to prove that to you. Because it is important to put proof on the table. Our beloved Prime Minister spoke heavily about healthcare during the campaign, and when the NDC got into power, it was no turning back. We saw our beloved Prime Minister identifying the lands for that new hospital, that new teaching hospital facility. We saw doctors being trained. We see the government working on health insurance and other things in that particular area. And I want to commend the government for that. They are not just talking, but they are serious about healthcare. They are serious about the teaching hospital facility. And that is what you want to see as you move to the next level. All right? So let me try to locate that here. Nice. Because it's important to put the evidence on the table so that people can have a greater appreciation for, all right, let me look. I'm looking for the teaching hospital here. Seems as though that video, I'm not getting that video at all. All right, what is this? Right, so I wanted to get that video for you. All right, let me see. I wanted to get that video for you, showing that thing there. All right, the new teaching hospital facility Let me get it. Yeah, so it's so important because our prime minister spoke about that openly, and they were able to identify the lands and move to that next level. All right. Um, oh boy, I am not able to play that for you there in terms of the video, but maybe you can listen into it. Let me get it here. It's a piece that MIT did, but strange that I'm not able to.
Things. We are seriously pursuing the national health insurance because we genuinely feel, particularly for major medical issues, which oftentimes has the potential to bankrupt a person. If we have insurance, you at least are guaranteed that you have the ability to pay for most, if not all, of the expense associated with that. Two, we are significantly looking to beef up scholarships and so on that are available to our nurses and other healthcare professionals. As you're aware, we also.
All right, good. So I was able to get that. Nice. So let's get it rolling now. Let's get it rolling now.
Things. We are seriously pursuing the national health insurance because we genuinely feel, particularly for major medical issues, which oftentimes has the potential to bankrupt a person. If we have insurance, you at least are guaranteed that you have the ability to pay for most, if not all, of the expense associated with that. Two, we are significantly looking to beef up scholarships and so on that are available to our nurses and other healthcare professionals. As you're aware, we also continue to look for scholarships opportunities for persons to study medicine and so on. But I think the big strategic one is the new hospital. And we view the new hospital from a revenue generating concept. We want to have a state-of-the-art hospital that allows the doctors at SU to do their rotations here. If that happens, that means they spend 2 additional years here. That helps to boost the economy from a tourism perspective, but it also gives almost immediately our public access to a lot more doctors, even if they're trainee doctors, than otherwise would have obtained. I think two, we specifically want to target health and medical tourism because we think that feeds directly into our tourism brand and what we want. And if we do so, it means then that the revenue generated from this can help to underwrite the cost of running the hospital. And if we do medical tourism, then the medical tourism must be first class and world standards, which then means our public gets the opportunity to have first class medical attention. Three, our primary healthcare system, and make sure that healthcare services are available in our communities and that it's heavily focused on preventative healthcare, making sure people understand nutrition, make sure they eat right, make sure they exercise, make sure they take some of the primary healthcare issues like dental care seriously, starting from the schools and so on. So those are some of the things that we are working on. We are currently working with one doctor who's an SGU alumni who wants to open an OBGYN clinic here. He's made significant progress in that in terms of the site, in terms of the physical work on the clinic as well. We are currently reviewing the MOU to get that going.
The government of Grenada remains committed to enhancing the livelihoods of all our people.
Right. So that piece there, very clear. And he spoke about that particular doctor who is, well, at the time was working on this clinic. That clinic has been launched, opened, and functioning. It's functioning as we speak. So again, thumbs up to the NDC administration. They identified the lands for the new teaching hospital facility, and they're working on that because that's a major, major project for our country. The health insurance, they're quite advanced where that is concerned. Primary health care, you see in the polyclinic in Gov, the amount of medical supplies delivered there and other clinics. They refurbish a number of medical stations throughout the country. Throughout the country, a number of medical stations were refurbished throughout Grenada, Carriacou, and the PT Martinique. And maybe I could give you a typical example of one because, it's always good to put the evidence on the table. Quite a number of medical stations were refurbished, all right, and stocked with supplies. Stocked with supplies. And that is what you want for any country. I remember they did the Good Hope Medical Station, the Wester Hall Medical Station, a number of them, right, were upgraded. Number of them were upgraded. So that is the way to go. All right. Let me see if I can get just showcase a little bit of that in terms of supplies and so on, what they are doing there. I think it's important to put the evidence on the table because I know they've done a number of things in terms of medical supplies. Maybe I can showcase a little piece of that.
Unused medical supplies that may otherwise be disposed of in the United States. Led by its founder and CEO Daniel Booten, the AFIA Foundation sources unused medical supplies and then donates them to third world or developing nations for use at health facilities such as hospitals, clinics and health centers. On Tuesday, the signing ceremony took place at the Guelph Health Center in the presence of Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell. Ms. Booten says the foundation creates access to critical medical supplies by successfully recovering surplus medical supplies, hospital equipment, and humanitarian provisions that they deliver to where they can be of aid.
Right. So, again, medical supplies delivered to a number of clinics, and that is what you want. That is what you want. You also saw doctors trained. We have seen a number of additional doctors at our medical stations and so on, and that's a good thing. It's a very good thing. I can recall them bringing in about 8 or so new doctors to serve our people at the general hospital. All right, and that's a good thing, a very very good thing. Maybe I can play a little piece of that too, because it's so important to put the evidence on the table because there are people out there who still saying, well, nothing happening there, nothing happening there, but the evidence is there to show.
Personnel. 8 physicians who recently graduated from St. George's University has completed their internship program and are now employed as house officers at the hospital. Speaking at this week's Senate sitting, Minister for Health, Wellness and Religious Affairs, Senator Jonathan Lecret, said this is a big win for Grenada's health sector.
Generally, we'll have 1 or 2. So this is really a big win because we've never had such a huge number. We've never had such a huge number in a long time. So the 8 for us is really good, and they are being rotated now around various areas of the hospital in terms of departments so that they can find their bearings before we actually have them have a taste of the accident and emergency department.
Senator Lecret said the goal is to strengthen the medical services provided at the A&E department.
In December, we will also have another batch of 8 graduating. So from my medical team, we feel as though that 15, 16 doctors would be enough for us to have a rotation process going, especially at the accident and emergency department, so that the wait is cut down by 3/4. Madam President, the truth is the truth. It's a long wait with one doctor who wants to ensure that he properly physically examine the individuals who come into the ER or who comes into the E&E, sorry. He or she will take some time to ensure that no malpractice is done, etc. So I understand the wait, because there are times you go in the past, and I myself as a citizen, you have to wait. Yes, and based on the criticality of your emergency, you may want some immediate redress before the persons who are sitting there, etc. So we're looking at a 12-hour shift, yes, and per person, so that we can have them on a rotation basis and have 2 doctors on call at the accident and emergency department before the end of the year.
Right. So we had that 8 new doctors, and I think they actually got some more that I would have to verify, but I think they got some more December, sometime thereabout. But that's a good thing. If you ask me, that's a really good thing. And they just need to keep it up because, there are people out there who are doubting Thomases. No matter what you do, they still will say you don't do. So just keep doing what you're doing because it's working. It is working. Rome was not built in a day. It takes time. But it is so important to show the people that the NDC has held true to the fundamental or foundational pillars to build the economy, to transform the economy. They said they will prioritize healthcare, and they have done so. They have done so. They said that they would focus on education, and they have done so. And I will put forward evidence to support that. New schools being built.
Work will begin early in the new year to construct a new building for the Grenada Christian Academy Secondary School. Details in this report by Annette Moore.
Wednesday, November 22nd, marked a historic and positive milestone in the life of the Grenada Christian Academy Secondary School located at Pearl St. Andrew, as the Ministry of Education signed a $27.4 million contract to begin construction of a new school facility during a short ceremony at the ministerial complex in Tantine.
All smiles, man. That's nice, man. I've never seen a happy place like that.
Happy for the new students that are going to experience the building, and like I said before, kind of jealous I didn't get to experience it.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Elvis Moraine, spoke on this latest success.
We need everyone on board, so it's good this morning we have procurement, we have MIT with help with the monitoring, we have the contractor, we have the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Infrastructure, who have had excellent relationship for the last few months trying to get things going. Yes, and we look forward to the salt-turning ceremony in maybe a matter of days, Ruth, a couple of weeks, maybe to do that, right?
The contractor winning the bid is Key Chinona and Sunrise Construction JV Incorporated.
Pulling our resources together and winning this bid is really a tremendous achievement, not only for our companies, but the employees that we have currently and those we will employ from the area of Pearls. At the maximum point, there will be at least 150 to 175 people employed on that job. That include direct labor, that include subcontractors, and that would include support services from suppliers. We have worked on quite a few schools in Grenada. As a matter of fact, we are just concluding the refurbishment of 9 schools. Yeah, so starting this on virgin territory and building this brand new, this is a serious challenge, and is one that falls right within, our capabilities and our capacity.
Right. So it's clear cut. 9 schools refurbished. They're starting this one brand new virgin territory. That is what you want in any country. But what is important here is that the NDC is maintaining the push to improve education in the country, because they stated in their campaign that they would focus heavily on education, and they have not disappointed the Grenadian people to date. So I want to applaud them. You know about the free tuition support for TAMCC students. And
the government of Grenada will officially launch its free tuition program on Monday, September 4th. The launch will take place at the Grenada Trade Center from 2:30 p.m. and will be broadcast live on the Government Information Service. The free tuition policy has been approved by Cabinet for students attending T.A. Marshall Community College and the New Life organization. Speaking in Parliament on Tuesday, Minister for Education, Senator the Honorable David Andrew, said the free tuition policy will also be extended to the 3-year pharmacology program at TAMCC. Senator Andrew clarified that although tuition will be absorbed by the government, students will still pay for ID cards, registration, and other deliverables. He said his government has allocated $2.5 million towards the free tuition policy.
This policy is one where the government will pay the tuition fees associated with study at TAMCC or NULO, right, or any other approved center in time. And so we know that the $810 annual fee that was payable at the T.A. Marshall Community College, that fee will be absorbed through this government's free tuition policy. Further, that same fee will be applied to persons pursuing studies at NULO. So I know it will cover the tuition part of NULO fees, but it will be an excess that will be applied to some of the other fees. So we want to make it clear. We are not saying there are no other fees. You may have to pay registration fees. You may have to pay T-shirts and other deliverables that you may get. The identification badge, we're not interfering with that at this point. But we are happy to bear the load of the 810 tuition fee.
Right. So the tuition fee, government is paying that for the students of TAMCC and NULO, $810. So the government is serious about education. They're not just talking, but they're fulfilling their pledges to the Grenadian people. And that, to me, is a big thing. It's a big thing because we are accustomed to, political parties making promises and not fulfilling them. But we are seeing something totally different when it comes to the NDC, when it comes to the NDC. Education is a priority. St. David Catholic Secondary School or St. David Catholic Primary School, I think, that too was refurbished.
The learning institution, which was established in 1968 with primary education dating back to 1816, received a much-needed facelift with renovations to the school compound, the construction of a new administrative building, and a gazebo for relaxation. Expressing a great sense of satisfaction, Principal Nicole Batiste thanked all who contributed to making the renovation a reality.
I have no doubt that this improved facility will encourage a better teaching and learning environment for our staff and students. I am confident that the students of this school will make full use of these new facilities to improve the education and contribute to the country's progress by achieving full and rewarding lives in the future. As our school motto says, building a foundation for a bright future.
Shortly after the new administration took office in June 2022, these students were relocated to the nearby Bellevue Community Center to facilitate a wider scope of rehabilitation works undertaken by Sunrise Construction, Inc. Desmond John is the director of the company.
I remember the first day we visited to do the analysis on this school. It was a Sunday. Ministry of Infrastructure, the Ministry of Education headed by Ruth Charles, ourselves, engineers, architects. And when we walk on this compound, it was very depressing. It was infested by rodents, infested by termites. There was ingress of water. It was really amazing to know that in these conditions, it was a learning institution. Ms. Ruth Charles' first impression was, let's demolish everything and build a school brand new. But there wasn't a budget for that. So we had discussions, and this is where we are today.
Education Minister David Andrew echoed sentiments of gratitude, commending the community for rallying together to assist the teachers and students through volunteer support during the trying period. He highlighted the need for greater emphasis on maintaining the infrastructure of schools across the country.
Now, I want to apologize that in the past, we've allowed too many of our school buildings to deteriorate to this point. I looked at the video, and it's heart-wrenching, indeed, as the contractor, the director said, to see the way we've allowed the schools to get to that point, putting our nation's children at risk. It's our commitment, under the leadership of our Prime Minister and the MP for this constituency, and a government that is genuinely interested in education and transformation through education, to ensure that we engage in preventative maintenance.
Also attending the event was Parliamentary Representative for St. David, Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell, who is a past student of the school. The Prime Minister, who played a pivotal role in the renovation process, reflected on his learning journey at the institution, which he described as a symbol of resilience.
And like the Minister of Education, I want to end by really thanking the community, particularly when we recognized that we would not have this facility last September. It was really the community that galvanized the move to ensure that the students were relocated and relocated quickly, and that despite the challenges, that they were made as comfortably as possible so that the school can take place. And I'm sure even with the move back here, the community again is actively involved in making sure that the move back to this new and improved facility is taking place smoothly. So thank you to all of you for the support. I look forward to continuing to working with you to ensure that we continue to build our schools, build our communities, so that the next generation of Grenadians can remember their schooling as fondly as I remember mine.
Yeah, so don't forget, they're also rebuilding. So this is the St. David's Catholic School. They're also rebuilding the St. David Catholic Secondary School, right? So that is also in train to rebuild that facility, and the Grenville, is it the Grenville Anglican School? I think that one directly in Grenville. They used to be at that park, Progress Park. They will be building that new facility also. So again, it's really the NDC administration every time to come and build schools. The NNP, they're not known to be a party or a government who is serious about education or building schools and so on. They're not into that. Don't even talk about agriculture. They are not interested in agriculture, period. They are not interested in agriculture. But the NDC has prioritized agriculture. That is why they went on that spice replanting project.
The Ministry of Agriculture, in collaboration with the Grenada Cooperative Nutmeg Association, the Grenada Cocoa Association, and Minor Spices Cooperatives, invite all farmers to register their interest to participate in the massive replanting program of our spices. The spices targeted are nutmegs, cocoa, pimento, cinnamon, bourbonde, bay leaf or borden, clove, black pepper, sapot, and tonka bean. Registration forms can be obtained at cocoa and nutmeg stations, agricultural district offices, Minor Spice at Laura, and some popular shops from Monday, November 13th, 2023. Approximately 150 farmers will be targeted under this phase of the project and would be provided with assistance to clear new lands for planting, labor to rehabilitate existing fields, and support with fertilizer for planting new plants. Please note that the processing of applicants would be done on a first-come, first-served basis, and for those who meet the selection criteria. Therefore, farmers are urged to complete the registration forms and return as soon as possible. The National Spice Planting Day is scheduled for November 29th, 2023.
So that was done, and they still continue to replant our spice trees, all right? That was a major, major, major project, because during NNP time, Ivan happened. Emily came, destroyed most of our spice trees, but the NNP never replanted or never encouraged or supported farmers to replant our spice trees. They just left it that way. By now, we would have been harvesting big time from our spice trees. But the NDC came in 2022 and decided, no, we have to replant our spices. So agriculture is a big thing for the NDC. I told you about the push to get more beef on our plates. In other words, we don't have to get it from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because that was always what used to take place. Up St. Vincent and down to Grenada, and they butcher it and they sell it, the cows, right? What they're doing now is this artificial insemination, where they have this frozen semen and so on that they're putting into the female cows, and they're getting good breeds, right? Good breeds with really good meat coming from it. So instead of bringing the cow from let's say, North America or wherever, to come and service the female and so, they're not doing that anymore. They're more technologically advanced, and I think that's the way to go. I featured that a number of times on the program, but maybe I can do it again. So because evidence is important.
This is something I love. I have about 9 to about 10 in all. So this is something I love. Just before they did this, right now I have a newborn about a month ago, and one is due to drop this month. I'm only sorry I hadn't met Frankie and them before they took the bull, because I would have done that to all. Yeah, because studies have shown that getting a litter from this breed within a year and a half, you could get up to 1,500 pounds of beef. So this is the way to go. This is the way to go. I expect to be to see massive growth, and to be honest, I really want a bull to keep the so if Frankie never come back, at least I have the breed. I think the professionals and them have done enough studies to cover the problem that was existing long before.
Right, so that's a good move. So a number of farmers, they are benefiting significantly from that project. This artificial insemination, this frozen semen and so on that they're using with hybrids. That's a good thing, because normally if you speak to the butchers and so on, they would tell you they're getting that from St. Vincent, the cows from St. Vincent. And that's not a good thing. If you ask me, we need to have our own. So again, thumbs up to the Ministry of Agriculture. And they were spending a lot of money and resources generally in agriculture.
The Minister of Mobilization, Implementation and Transformation is working closely with the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands, Fisheries and Cooperatives to ensure that US $10 million Food Safety Enhancement Project is implemented in a timely manner. The project is funded under the World Bank program Unleashing the Blue Economy of the Caribbean. On Friday, various stakeholders met to chart the way forward for the project. The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands, Fisheries and Cooperatives is Mr. Aaron Francois.
The project is already activated. By that, I mean we have started. We have been given the approval to start the implementation of the project. And so this morning we are meeting at a high-level meeting in terms of making sure that we are ready for implementation. In other words, the process has started, but we are approaching it from a whole of government approach. So we have several ministries, the Ministry of Agriculture and its technicians. We have the procurement unit from the Ministry of Finance, who will be overseeing the procurement for the project. We have persons from the Ministry of MIT, which is of course overseeing the implementation of major projects for the government. And we also have persons from the Ministry of Legal Affairs. We have a representative from the Ministry of Legal Affairs, and from Economic Development. So the idea is to bring all the major players, given the urgency and the tight time frame that we have to implement that project, to make sure that everybody understands, what each one has to do, so that we can expedite the implementation of the project.
Minister for Mobilization, Implementation and Transformation, Honorable Andy Williams, spoke about his ministry's involvement and beneficiaries of the project.
What we are doing from MIT standpoint is we are collaborating with the Ministry of Agriculture and other ministries to ensure that this project is implemented in the 12 months window. We have 10 months remaining, and we want to ensure that this project is implemented in that time. And again, this project will be a game changer for the agriculture sector, and farmers and agro-processors will see tremendous benefit from this project. It involves livestock, it involves freezing capacity, it involves funding for agro-processors, and it's just it's funding projects for farming in general. But the bigger picture of this project is to really reduce food prices for us in Grenada. And this project is not only a project for Grenada, but it's a project for other OCS islands or countries in the Caribbean.
Minister Williams said after this meeting, the hope is that from Monday they can get the ball rolling.
Yes, so they have already gotten the ball rolling. So I'm just putting the evidence on the table. So the NDC is serious about agriculture. They're not just talking, but they're acting, they're doing. They're a group of doers.
Government's continued support for the development of the agricultural sector was highlighted on Thursday during the official opening of the Young Entrepreneurs, Farmers and Fishers in Agriculture and Agribusiness Project Office. It is located in Lassages, St. David. The Youth in Agriculture program is funded by the CARICOM Development Fund at a cost of over $1.3 million US. Prime Minister and Parliamentary Representative for St. David, Honorable Deacon Mitchell, in his remarks encouraged Grenada's youthful population to embrace agriculture.
I've never been unemployed in my life. And I've never been unemployed because as a youth, there was always employment in agriculture. So when I grew up going to the estates or to the farms with my grandmother. When I became a teenager and I wanted to dress nicely, I knew I would not get any money from any parent or family. If you wanted to be fancy, I had to go up to the mountains, pick up the nutmegs, clean the nutmegs, separate the maize, put the nutmegs in the bags, and take it to the nutmeg pool in Taybayed in St. David. The point I was making is that I was doing this even when I was in Presentation Brothers College. And even after leaving Presentation Brothers College. Because agriculture provided a ready means of earning a living, a ready means of income. And it is still the case today. But our education system has not really placed emphasis or sufficient emphasis on agriculture. And
yes, and our beloved Prime Minister is correct. They launched Youth in Agriculture, so a lot of young people will get funding and support to really kick off in the area of agriculture. So the NDC is serious about healthcare, the NDC is serious about education, the NDC is serious about agriculture, the NDC is also serious about housing. That is why you hear about Project 500, where the NDC intends to build 500 Grenadian-style homes, right? And that's a big thing. That's a good thing. You saw what they did with the housing units at Corinth, I think Dumfries, Boucher-Joux, and somewhere else, right? So the 600 plus Chinese houses, low-income houses, they have started the process of distributing them, and they did some work on them. They remember these apartments were empty, but look at what they have done in those apartments. you see, well, for those on Facebook and YouTube, well, you can see. Those on radio, you're only hearing that musical there. But it's really showcasing how beautiful, instead of those houses or low-income houses, look, the apartments and so on. All right? So again, I want to commend the NDC because remember, this thing was a shell. This thing was empty. All right? The people were actually going in there and having to start from scratch to get closets, counters, this and everything else. The NDC turned this thing around, investing $4 million or so to turn this thing around for people. And that's a big thing. That's a good thing. Some people don't understand what the NDC just did. All right? Some people don't understand that. So they handed over the keys to these apartments.
Applicants of the low-income housing units at Corinth St. David are one step closer to becoming homeowners, following Friday's ceremony to mark the handover of keys. More than 150 Grenadians engaged financial institutions to seek assistance to purchase units at the facility. 60 have so far qualified and are pre-approved, and 30 have completed inspections. Prime Minister and Parliamentary Representative for St. David, Honorable Deacon Mitchell, emphasized the significance of owning a home and government's commitment to support that fundamental right.
For this housing complex to remain a viable, sustainable community, it requires persons who will take ownership of what, through the kind compliments of the People's Republic of China, has been gifted to Grenada, so that they can own it, they can take care of it, they can improve it, and so that they can pass it on to the next generation of Grenadians. And so I want to congratulate all of the beneficiaries who've stepped up and put their hands up and given their commitment to being a homeowner and to creating a more stable, a more friendly, and a more prosperous environment within which to raise your family. I ask you, for those who may not be from St. David and who will be coming into this community, to embrace the community. It is a growing, thriving, loving community. We ask you to contribute to it, to engage with your neighbors, to contribute to social and community development. There's a lot happening.
The Grenada Housing Authority has committed to cover the cost of insurance for the first 10 years and also manage security and repairs for the first 3 years. Manager Jason Williams said all the units have been accounted for.
The Housing Authority of Grenada will commence inspections of units of pre-approved persons in the following order. The Villa, St. Patrick and Dumfries Carriacou to commence on 2nd of April 2024, followed by Boucherville on the 15th of April and Diamond St. Mark on the 29th of April. Now, once all units are inspected and accepted by the purchaser, you'll be required to sign a sale agreement. I'm speaking to the converted here in some cases.
Right, so it is clear that the government, the NDC administration, is serious about health, is serious about education, serious about agriculture, serious about housing, and you know about Project 500. You'll hear some more about that in the months and years to come. That's the way to go, if you ask me, because a country can only move forward if you invest in health, invest in education, invest in agriculture, invest in housing, and invest in the people. Invest in the people of the country. That is a big thing. Remember the whole issue of minimum wage. You had a lot of people in the country working for very little. The NDC came in and they say, nah, by law, the minimum wage has to be adjusted to meet the times that we are living in. And we saw the minimum wage order came into full effect.
In the campaign, one of the promises made by the now administration was the review and increase of minimum wages in Grenada, which, although required by law to be reviewed every 3 years, was not reviewed since 2011. And keeping good and true to that promise, we did constitute the Wages Advisory Committee, and they, I am happy to report to this House and to the nation, have submitted to the Cabinet the final report which will be shared with the public shortly in further consultations that have been directed to be commenced by the Cabinet. Madam President, the committee, in the consultations held leading up to the report, had 7 or so public consultations, not including appearances on the media, radio and TV, and of course, many more private and direct consultations with stakeholder organizations, including the Grenada Chamber of Industry and Commerce, the Grenada Hotel and Tourism Association, the call center operators, construction sector.
Yes, indeed. So thank you very much there, the Honorable Claudia Joseph. And she's correct. They have consulted, they have engaged the nation, and now people are enjoying the better wages from their employers. All right? And that's the way to go. We know all the different categories of workers, and they're getting something way better. But boy, Grenadians tend to forget good things very quickly. They tend to forget good things very quickly. So the NDC cares about people, the human aspect of development, caring for the people and making sure that their lives are better.
Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell says it was no coincidence that the NDC chose to pay retroactive pension from November 30th, 2022, rather than waiting until 2023 under the next budget cycle. He says the former NMP administration was allowed to suspend some clauses of the Fiscal Responsibility Act by virtue of the declaration of the state of emergency as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Prime Minister Mitchell adds that the suspension essentially waylaid the operations of the Fiscal Oversight Review Committee. However, with the end of the state of emergency on April 4th this year, the Prime Minister notes that under the next budget cycle, the NDC administration will be required to comply with the 3 rules set under the Fiscal Responsibility Act.
Right, so it's clear the pension and gratuity was paid. We heard from the unions. They came out and they applauded the government for paying the pension and the gratuity.
This administration must be given tremendous applause and appreciation for the work they have done regarding the payment of the retroactive. Of course, we know about talks about pension reform, but we have ran the first leg and we have ran it well, and hundreds of people, in fact thousands, the whole of Grenada is happy for this because the retirees, they also have families and people are looking on, and I think it does a lot for social and economic justice in this country that the retroactive payment has been made.
It's a joyous occasion for me. It's like a dream come true. I feel it for those senior citizens who for years had to struggle. Some of them had to go through demeaning job that they would have left and had to find ways to survive. So it's really a good feeling for me. It's many prayers answered, and I commend the government for taking that bold initiative to pay.
So the pension was paid. Thank you very much there, Mr. Lyden Lewis. Thank you very much. Indeed. So the pension was paid. Pension was paid, and public officers who retired, they're happy. They get their gratuity and they're getting a pension every month. And those who are down in line to retire, they're looking forward to it with great expectation. All right? That's the way to go. That's the way to go. Remember, all that I talked about there were not existing under the NNP. Right? The NNP never saw agriculture as important, much less education or health. Right? So I put that on the table, in my mind, I am saying this is enough for the NDC to be re-elected into office, right? But the NDC has 3 more years to continue to deliver, to do good for the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. So you can imagine what would happen in the next 2-3 years from now, all right? I told you about the 2 young men who have their little business, landscaping business and so on. A number of people have reached out to them, which is really great. I want to encourage you, if you have a lawn, you have land, you have, piece of land or your yard to maintain, you want it clean, you want to trim some tree, you want to, drain or anything of that sort, they are available to do that.
Are you tired of maintaining your lawn? Does your garden need a cleanup? Well, look no further. Lawn Pros have you covered. Call us at Lawn Pros today. We offer lawn and garden maintenance, mowing, trimming, pruning, raking, and weeding. Call us at 473-405-6349 or 419-1638 or email us at tyronjr22@gmail.com. Lawn Pros got you covered.
Right, so if you want to reach them, you can give me a buzz, 415-4817, and I can give you their number. So folks, take good care and bye for now. Bye for now. I'll be back with you tonight.